Speaking of people being mean to animals, if you have not heard the story about Peanut and Fred.
Such a great transition. Oh my God.
Thank you. This is Peanut. I've
So-
followed Peanut for a long time. Probably a lot of you have followed Peanut for a long time.
Mhm.
Peanut the squirrel. This was a
Partially for the
rescue
squirrel and partially for the hot guy. I mean, let's
for the
get real.
sweatpants. I mean, come on.
Right.
Everybody
you
likes the sweatpants.
Everybody likes the tight sweatpants. I mean, let's get real. What's going on here? Right.
And this is Fred. So Fred and Peanut are no longer with us because of complete government overreach that is so egregious. If you have not heard the story, you'll hear an interview with TMZ and the owners right as they found out that they were euthanized after being stolen from them.
So I know Don's fired up
Oh wait, here's
Peanut
JD
the
Vance.
squirrel. We were on the way down here from Cincinnati. He was like, is it really the case that the Democrats murdered the Elon Musk of squirrels? And I said, yeah, it sounds like. Have you seen the videos of this squirrel? Yeah. He's a genius.
We just learned that they have euthanized Peanut.
And the raccoon as well.
And the raccoon as well. I am so sorry. This must be really difficult for you.
It not only tears my family apart, but Peanut was the cornerstone of our nonprofit animal rescue. And 10 to 12 DEC officers raided my house as if I was a drug dealer. I was sat outside my house for 5 hours. I had to get a police escort to my bathroom. I wasn't even allowed to feed my rescue horses breakfast or lunch. I was sat there like a criminal after they interrogated my wife to check out her immigration status. Then proceeded to ask me if I had cameras in my house. Then proceeded to go through every cabinet, nook, and cranny of my house for a squirrel and a raccoon.
They got a search warrant?
They got a search warrant. 4 departments and a judge signed off on a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon. And then they took them and killed them.
Yeah, but listen, every illegal in New York is okay, right? They didn't check their damn papers, but his German wife, who's here legally,
right? And
then those animals, they got to kill them, put them down, make him put him out for 5 hours, completely demean this guy. What are we doing? The government is completely out of control. You guys want more of this?
4 agencies were involved with this.
What a waste.
This guy who's literally done the best thing ever with that squirrel, which is to keep it alive and to shelter other animals that are in his rescue organization.
Unbelievable.
It's so bad. And there was a TikToker who pointed out why everyone should be mad about this. This was perfect.
Hey, that a story that seems so insignificant can rock the American people to its very core. And yet that's exactly what's happening as we're learning about the story of Peanut the squirrel. If you spend any time on social media, you've probably seen Peanut the squirrel, owned by a guy named Mark Longo, who 7 years ago found Peanut abandoned by its mother and took Peanut in and raised it as a pet. Peanut has become a social media sensation, viewed by thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people across the world. That is, until the authoritarian state decided to step in and not only take Peanut, but euthanized him. So earlier this week, we learned that Mr. Longo's home was raided by the New York Department of Environment and Conservation. It's alleged that some woman in Texas decided to file multiple anonymous tips, which led to a criminal judge, a local prosecutor, multiple sheriffs, and up to a dozen armed New York agents raiding the home of Mr. Longo and taking the squirrel, along with another pet raccoon. And they decided to euthanize the squirrel. So now the entire country is asking themselves this question. Why would the state do that? Why would the state marshal so much resources to confiscate a squirrel and then euthanize it? And the answer, which is shocking, is because they can. Now the American people, many who don't pay attention to politics, but are part of the culture, are seeing firsthand the wickedness, the viciousness of an authoritarian state, which can just take whatever it wants. And it can do whatever it wants. I don't think I've seen a story yet this year that more perfectly encapsulates exactly what the American people are facing in this election cycle. That's what's on the ballot. That's what we're voting for. The callousness of some woman in another state thousands of miles away,
unreal,
can't mind her own business, that would file anonymous tips, is the exact same mindset of somebody who calls in tips to local police departments that causes them to SWAT and raid people's homes.
Yep.
It's the same mindset that allows red flag laws to be passed all over the country. It's the same mindset that allowed Tim Walz in Minnesota to sign into legislation the right of the state to take even your children from you. This isn't a story about just a squirrel. This is a story about where the American people find themselves today and the corruption and the rot gut and the viciousness of an authoritarian state that we're staring right in the eyes.
Absolutely. 100%. That should have never happened in the United States of America.
It's just vile, especially considering it was in New York where the crime is so out of control.
Yep.
And this is what they got 4 different agencies spun up about.
Yep.
Guns drawn, raiding some guy's house just because he has rescue animals.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Like, and somebody said, don't they have something better to do? Oh yeah. They've got a lot of shit that they could be doing, but they're not doing it. And what gets me is there are people in those departments, like real human beings that are like, yeah, this is a good idea. Let's go in and just do this to this guy. Those are your fellow citizens. Like, I'm sure those people, because they're a bunch of freaking commies, they're not watching this show. But how dare you do that to your fellow American citizens? Like, that's what tears me up.
Yeah, it's a power grab. And
it is a power
happens
grab
at all of these agencies, all these government agency levels. It doesn't matter what level they are. They're like, they get off on it.
That just sickens me. It sickens me.
Yeah, it's vile. And I promise this is the last one, but we do have Scott Jennings.
My God, are you sure it's the last one? Are we sure?
I swear to God, I swear. Weighing in on Peanut.
To speak on behalf of Peanut the squirrel, God rest his tiny soul, not since the squirrel that was taught to water ski has a squirrel caught the nation's attention like this one. Now, this squirrel was squirrel napped and murdered by the state of New York, and absurd abuse of government overreach. There are 40 million rats or something in New York, and they executed the only one trained to wear a cowboy hat and had an Instagram account. My condolences to Mark Longo, who cared for Peanut for 7 years, and to the cowardly neighbors who filed the complaints about Mr. Longo's animals, which also included Fred the raccoon. I ask, why are you the way that you are? I hope you're happy, you monsters. R.I.P. Peanut.
I'm not.
It's true. The woman in Texas has been doxxed.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
I saw some rumblings that it wasn't her, but then people also said she was bragging about it on Facebook before taking her page down.
Yep. That's what I saw.
What the hell?
Too.
Why would she do that?
Well, because she's a dirty Democrat commie. That's why.
Oh my God.
Because these people exist. They walk amongst us. I mean, they think that this is great. They think they can control other people.
Yeah.
That ain't American.
It's just awful. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awful.